we put the 3 above the 6. 5 times 3 is 15. We subtract, and then we bring down the next number. And so now we have 5 into 15, which is 3. We multiply again, we subtract, and get 0. Okay, so this time we don't have a remainder. Okay, let's say this time we have 142 divided by 3. 3 goes into 14 how many times? 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Subtract, you get 2. Bring down the 2. 3 goes into 22 how many times? 7 times 3. Subtract. This time we have a 1. What do we call that 1? Remainder. The remainder, okay? What do we call the 47 and the 33?
The quotient.
The quotient. Very good. Okay, so you have the quotient, which is your whole numbers. The remainders are going to be your leftovers. Okay, what do you call the 5 and the 3? Very good, I heard somebody say it. Divisor. Okay, and the number underneath the radical is called the what? Dividend. Okay, so those are your 4 vocab words for today. Okay, you have quotient, divisor, remainder, dividend. Okay, long division coming back to you now. Good old long division. Alright, so now we are going to do long division with polynomials. So again, if you want to take notes on your PowerPoint slides, you can. I'm going to do it up here so I can write bigger and cleaner. With long division, okay, your highest degree term is the dividend. Dividend. Yes, it just looks like it's spelled wrong. Okay, your lower degree or lowest degree is your divisor. And perhaps the most important thing is that your dividend is in standard form. And then the last thing, if you are missing a degree, put a placeholder. And you'll see what all this means in application in a second. Okay, so if you're missing a degree, so what I mean by that is if it goes x cubed plus x plus 3, what term are you missing? X squared. So you would say x cubed plus 0x squared plus x plus 3. Okay, you want to make sure that every degree is represented in your polynomial when you're doing long division. Alright. On your PowerPoint slide, you'll see that there's like step by step in case you got lost. Okay. However, I'm going to just do it again, like I said, on paper, and then you can refer back to that as needed. Okay, the first one that I'm going to do is this one here. It says negative y squared plus 2y cubed plus 25 divided by y minus 3. So it's the example that's written out in steps for you. I'm just going to do each step up here. Okay, which polynomial is going in the house, or which one represents the dividend?
The first one.
The first one. Why the first one? It's the highest degree. It's also the one that's listed first. Okay. What do I need to do to it? It needs to be in standard form, and we need to add a placeholder. I heard somebody say it back there. Okay, so before we put it in the house, I am putting it in standard form, and I'm adding a placeholder for my y term. Does everybody see what I just did? Questions regarding what I did? Cool. Alright, so once you have it in standard form and you have all your placeholders and you've got it set up and ready to go, okay, the first thing you want to do is figure out what can I multiply y by to get 2y cubed. You're completely ignoring this minus 3 for now. What would I multiply y by to get 2y cubed? 2y squared. Okay, so that's going up here. Okay, and then now, just like with long division, once you have the number up top, part of your quotient, now I'm multiplying 2y squared times y minus 3. Okay, so 2y squared times y minus 3, I'm going to get that 2y cubed. What's 2y squared minus 3? 2y squared, sorry, not 2y squared minus 3. 2y squared times negative 3. Negative 6y squared. Okay? So all we are trying to do is get rid of this first term. And so we're trying to figure out what do I multiply y by to equal 2y cubed. And that was 2y squared. Okay, now you're putting in parentheses and subtracting, just like you do in long division. Okay? My advice to you is, because we tend to lose track of our negatives, rather than making this a subtraction problem, make it an addition problem and switch all your signs. Okay? So if I make this an addition problem, everything else becomes opposite signs. Okay, and that way I can just add, and I'm not trying to minus a negative and accidentally forget. Okay, so once I do this, I have 2y cubed plus a negative 2y cubed. What happens there? Cancels. And now I have negative y squared plus 6y squared, which is what? 5y squared. And then just like with long division, okay, that we just did up there with just numbers, you're bringing down your next term. Okay, next step. Again, I'm only referencing y, okay, ignore the negative 3 for now. What am I going to multiply y by to get 5y squared? 5y. Okay, now I'm multiplying this 5y times y minus 3. So 5y times y is going to give me what? 5y squared. 5y times negative 3. Negative 15y. Okay, again, I don't want to get into bad habits. I want to put this in parentheses and subtract. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make it addition and change all of my signs. If you don't want to do that step, you don't have to, but just make sure that you don't forget that when you subtract a negative, that's really a positive. Okay, now I have 5y squared plus a negative 5y squared, which is cancels out. And then I have 0y plus 15y, which is just, and you're bringing down the next term. Okay, now I'm asking myself, what times y is going to give me 15y? 15. Okay? So 15 times y is 15y. 15 times negative 3? Negative 45. Put it in parentheses and subtract. Now I'm going to change my sign here to addition and change all of my signs inside parentheses. 15y plus a negative 15y, what happens? Cancels. 25 plus 45. Okay, is there anything I can multiply y by to give me 70? And that's when you know you're finished. Okay, so once you can no longer multiply y by anything to get this piece down here, you're done. Okay, so what would your quotient be? The top part, which is 2y squared plus 5y plus 15. Okay, your remainder would be what? 70. If I asked you to put it all together, or you saw answer choices that were put all together, okay, you would write it like this. 2y squared plus 5y plus 15 plus 70 over your divisor. Okay, so just like when you have a remainder with your, up here it would be 47 1/3, the same thing. Okay, you're just putting your remainder over your divisor.
Wait, do you want to do it that way?
So on a test, if it asks just for the quotient, it would be this. If it asks just for the remainder, it would be this. However, if you were given just this, you would want to write your full answer. Okay, so if I said what is the quotient, again it's just the top. If I said what is the remainder, it's just the bottom. If I didn't say anything and I just gave you a division problem, then you write the whole thing. So obviously it's probably fuzzy right now because we've only done one. But what questions do we have on just the first one? Okay, the biggest mistake people are going to make is with their negatives. Okay, I can't stress enough the importance of putting parentheses and changing your signs and making it addition. Because when you have those double negatives and you forget to add instead of subtract, okay, that's going to throw off your entire problem. Question. Alright, let's look at the next one. We are on page 2, the second example. We have x cubed minus 3x plus 5 divided by x plus 2. Okay, what are we going to have to do? Add some placeholders. Okay, so I have x cubed plus 0x squared minus 3x plus 5 and x plus 2. Okay, so always just double check that under the in the house your dividend has decreasing degrees and everyone is represented. Alright, so x plus 2, okay, what is my first step? What one am I looking to kill off first? The first term, okay, so x cubed. What am I going to have to multiply by? X squared, okay? So I have x squared times x plus 2. What is that going to leave me with? X cubed plus 2x squared. Okay, what's my next step? Parentheses and subtract. Okay, I'm going to change my sign. Okay, what happens to my x cubed term? It cancels. And then I have 0x squared plus a negative 2x squared. Okay, then what? Bring down your next term. Okay. What was your question? Okay. Now what am I looking to do? Which term am I trying to kill off? Negative 2x squared. So what am I going to have to multiply x plus 2 by to give me negative 2x squared? Okay. So negative 2x times x plus 2 is going to be negative 2x squared minus 4x. Add, because I switched all my signs. What happens to your x squared term? Cancels out. Negative 3x plus 4x. X. Bring down the next term. Okay, x plus 2 and x plus 5. What can I multiply x plus 2 by, or x by, to give me x? 1. Don't forget that last step. That's going to be the most commonly missed step. People are going to think they're done. Okay, 1 times x plus 2 is x plus 2. Add and switch all your signs. X plus a negative x is going to cancel. 5 plus a negative 2. 3. Okay, so what would your quotient be? Very good. X squared minus 2x plus 1. Your remainder? 3. And if I told you to put it all together, what would you have? Very good. Make sure you have this plus right here. Otherwise it's multiplication. So make sure you have the plus the remainder. So quotient plus remainder. What questions do we have after example 2? Do y'all want to try the next one by yourself?
Will the divisor ever have like exponents in it?
Yeah, we're about to do that one. You treat it the same way. We'll do one more together just because, like Peyton said, she asked if the divisor will ever be a higher degree than 1, and it will. So if you look at example 3 in your packet on page 3, you've got a degree 3 divided by a degree 2. We'll do this one together as well just so that you have an example. Okay, we have 8x cubed plus 6x squared plus 7 divided by x squared plus 2. Okay, what placeholders do I need? X. So 8x cubed plus 6x squared plus 0x plus 7. Okay, and what you do to solve a degree 3 by a degree 2 is the same exact process. Okay, so this time, what's the first term we're trying to kill? 8x cubed, and what are we going to have to multiply by in order to kill that one? 8x, okay. So now we have 8x times x squared plus 2, and what is that going to give us? 8x cubed, and what about the second term? 16x. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. Okay, when you have a degree 3 by degree 2, notice that 16x isn't going to go here. Okay, you want to line up all your degrees all the time so that you don't get stuck and make a mistake of adding or combining the wrong terms. Okay, so you have 8x cubed plus 16x. Okay. So you can just fill in 0x squared here if you want, or you would just bring down the 6x squared. It's the same thing. But you're still putting in parentheses, and you're still subtracting. Okay? And then now we're going to go through and change all of our signs. So plus, minus, minus, minus. What do you mean? Oh, no, you don't. Okay, so our x cubed term, goodbye. 6x squared plus 0x squared is just going to be 6x squared. 0x plus a negative 16x is going to be, okay, this is the second most common place people make mistakes. They see the fact that we subtracted and we are left with two terms, and so they don't think to bring anything down. Okay, after each step, it doesn't matter how many terms you're left with, you have to bring down the next one. Okay, so we're still bringing down this plus 7. Okay, otherwise you start losing terms. So after each step, bring down the next term. Okay, now we're looking at x squared and 6x squared. What am I going to have to multiply by? 6. Okay, 6 times x squared plus 2. 6x squared plus 12. Okay.